come and make this panel for my international B414 tractor bonnet. So this is what we're making, and this is what we will be replacing. As you can see, very holy. So we're going to be making this flat panel into this very detailed panel. Excuse my puffy face. This was 3 days after I got 3 wisdom teeth taken out, so my face is fully swollen. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually make sure that the panel that I cut out is straight. As you can see beside the ruler, it is pretty good. I'm still trying to find the best way to cut out panels and make it as straight as possible. So far I'm just putting a bit of extra material on and then using a floppy disk to make it perfectly straight. Next up, I'm literally just going to be marking it out. So I use the thin bit of the Sharpie here to do the first marks, and then when I do the actual line, I use the thicker part of the marker or the Sharpie, and then I use this little spike just to make sure I have the exact line but also a thicker line, because I'm blind and I can't see. So next up, a few people on TikTok told me to heat up the panel and it makes it easier to bend, so this is what I'm doing. I'm using burning here just to heat this bit of the panel up, and then I'm just putting on the metal backing plate and putting on the G-clamps, and this is when I realise I am just a girl and I am weak and me and G-clamps are not friends. But this was the first time of making this panel full size. The next time, which I obviously didn't record, I realised there was a few more different methods that I could use using this metal folder. So the next panel I made the next day was actually 10 times better. But sure, did I film it? No. So you're just gonna have to believe me or go check my TikToks and see the progress over there, or Instagram, same thing. Next up, I used this bit of wood just to hold the panel in place, so I could get this like weird right angle bend. There's probably a better way to do this, but I just could not figure it out. So if you know any better methods, please do tell me. But the wood was too thick, so then I had to just hand form it at the end. But sure, it did the job. As you can see, it made a lovely right angle. Wow, beautiful. Next up, I used my trusty bead ruler. So this is just me measuring out the gapping and tightening the little grub screw with my puffy face. And this is how slow I go to be as precise as possible, because mine is a hand one. You need a lot of hand-eye coordination for this. And this is it sped up 4 times the speed. So yeah, you can tell it took a bit of time to just do this one pass. But ended up being, well, perfect, to be honest. So this is the panel up against the bonnet. As you can see, it turned out really nice. Now, future me, see the way I have Sharpie saying outside there with a smiley face? Yeah, next time when you're doing this, make sure you fully remove that before you put primer on it, because Sharpie and primer do not mix. I found that out the hard way. So anyway, put the new panel up against the old panel, and this is me just making sure it's completely straight, and then I'm marking out where I need to cut. So I use the fat end of the Sharpie again because I'm blind, and mark out where the panel hits, and then I go in with my little scribe again and just make sure I put that metal line. The metal line is the exact positioning of where it needs to go. The red just makes it easier for, well, me to see. Next, I get my cutting disc and do the very scary thing of cutting it out. This is where it usually goes wrong, and today was no different. So ended up cutting it out. I don't cut straight up to that metal line. I leave, maybe a good few centimeters away, and then I change my cutting disc to a floppy disk, and then I grind down to that metal scribe line. I was pretty impressed with how it came out. It came out really well, but you'll see later on it messed up. This is me putting on a wire wheel on my angle grinder because I forgot that I needed to clean up the edges so the welder could actually earth to the panel, and then I'm just putting the panel back on, ready for the scary biscuits of actually welding this bad boy. So as you can see, I'm all proud here. Look at that lovely fitment, just a tiny bit of a gap, but I completely forgot that I should have given myself a little bit more clearance, because obviously the panel expands when it heats up. So yeah, anyway, this is the first time properly using my new welder. So you can see it there, that bright orange thing in the bottom left. It's from Screwfix. It's a multi-welder. So far so good, to be honest. I love that I can just whack it on and go. This is me realising that the panel had expanded, and yeah, I needed to get the cutting disc and make a gap. And then since doing this, it made too much of a gap. And basically today I had to learn how to weld on top of welds. I tried out my belt sander for the first time, realised I need to get a water trap for my dad's extendable airline. So just went back to my good old floppy disk and angle grinder and just basically grind it down all the heads. Then I got my most favourite product, as you can see, is Weld Through Primer, and then I realised I actually don't need to use this because we're not welding it. I can just use normal primer, but as you can see, by now, I'm just fed up. As you can see, just the attitude there. Overall, it came out alright. It'll do the job. A lot to improve on, but yeah.